is our expectation? What are we going to expect? Are we going to go through the road? Or
That's what it's going to be.
in communication?
Yes. So let's start with the rail.
Because of the resource limitation, is implementing Rwenkunye-Apac Rwenkunye-Apac lead up to Lango. That is totaling 191 kilometers. On the first load of Rwenkunye-Apac, the contractor is Sadim Al-Kuwait from Kuwait, and that is 90.9 kilometers. Then the one from Apac to Pranga is 100.1 kilometers. We have a supervising consultant who is Dal Hansa from Lebanon.
That's you, right? Yeah.
And we also have other service providers who provide service from here in Rwenkunye up to Apac. We have about 3 or 4 stopovers. The first one will be where the contractor has already started the physical works, where the contractor will tell us what they are doing there and any challenges which they are facing and so on and so forth. Then next we shall go to a location where we have the palm tree plantation, which is affecting the project in a way because this project came after we have already designed the road, and the plantation has sort of affected the road with it especially. We shall then go to, there is a smaller camp which the contractor has established in Okoko, yeah, where we shall also get the emerging issues at that camp. After that we shall go to the quarry, the main quarry where the contractor is preparing to get the rock material which will be used for the road construction. And after that we shall go to the main camp where we have the equipment yard, the workshops, the offices, and so on and so forth. We have a brief which is holistic, which we have shared with you, and yeah, which we will be reviewing as we go along, and whatever.
The project is a 90.9 kilometer road project, and it starts from Rwenkunye. Chainage 0 is at Rwenkunye, and chainage 90 is past Apac, like maybe 1 kilometer away from Apac district, from Apac town. It commenced last year on the 7th of December 2020, and it is having a contractor called Sadim Al-Kuwait, and the supervision consultant is Da Al-Handas, who is also undertaking the 2 lots at the Apac Lira Pranga as well. It's a 3 years contract, and it elapses on the 6th of December 2023, 36 months, with a 1 year DLP period, defects liability period, which goes up to December of 2024. The contract price is 337 billion. The exact figure is in the brief.
337.
Yes, billion.
337.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the contract commenced, as I told you, last year. The mobilization period was for 3 months, and it elapsed on the 6th of March this year, 2021. the contractor started mobilizing the required contractual resources for the works, including the equipment, the personnel, the material, and they continue to mobilize, but what is required for the start of the work was mobilized, and they started on the works they started on earthworks between 9 and 11 and subgrade works. In that section, works are moving on. They are doing a trial for that for subgrade between 9 and 11.
What's 9?
Kilometer 9 and 11. Immediately after here.
After Abudama. No,
Yes.
between Abudama.
Yes. They are also doing forward maintenance for the entire stretch of the road. The time they took over, most of the sections were in a bad state, but they were instructed to improve on them. And as we were driving through, I think we saw that at least the road is motorable. All the sections actually are in a good state. So I think over the 40 km/h recommended contractual riding quality. So, and it's a requirement throughout the contract period, so they will do that throughout their entire stay on this project. There are other provider subcontractors on the project, including the HIV/AIDS, as he already told you. He was awarded. He signed a contract, I think, like a week back. But we are glad he's here with us. He's trying to mobilize. Very soon he will come here to do the baseline survey in the community.
This is
Yes, him. For HIV/AIDS, gender, child protection, OSH, among other activities throughout the entire project period. We have a dispute board whom we've already constituted, and we already had an entry meeting like a month back. We have an environment and social safeguards team from UNRWA to oversee the environment and social activities on the project and to ensure that the effects on the project are mitigated, the environment and social impacts on the project are mitigated. That is done routinely. They are offering support regarding that activity. We also have, the quality control department, as well as the project management team, to ensure that the project is executed as per the contract. Of course, with the monitoring and support from the district leaders and all other stakeholders concerned regarding this project, to see that the project is implemented successfully. The contractor was given the first 30 kilometers. It was handed over the first 30 kilometers because we are procuring land in sections due to the resource envelope challenge. So the first 30 kilometers were procured. Then we shall go at the 4 sections. We shall go.
Where the first 30 kilometers?
Oh, we shall give the details in the meeting. Then there are 4 sections. So the first 30 was handed over, and that's where the contractor is concentrating. Then the next 30 kilometers, we intend to hand it over at the end of September. Actually, the first half, the payments were done. Then the second half of that section, the CGV approved the report, but the verification and disclosure was affected by the COVID. The people couldn't move at that time. But after the lifting of the lockdown, they resumed the activities to engage the people, to disclose to them what the the amounts are, so that they can also be paid. So we are targeting end of September to have that section as well handed over to the contractor. Of course, there are challenges, as we've already highlighted before in our other engagements we've had with the district leaders. The first 30 section, that section between 19 and 32, the land that belongs to hillside where they planted the palm trees is still encumbered. We engaged them, especially in that section. They have planted there the palm trees.
Oh,
Yes. And so when the contractor went to work there, they couldn't proceed.
I saw some fencing there.
Yes.
Did they move it?
Yes.
Put it up?
Yes, they're the ones who put it up. So, but we engaged them. They said we realign and take the road on the opposite side of the road, since it all belongs to them.
It's too expensive.
Yes.
Time consuming.
So we have that challenge, and of course they are continuing even in other sections. We see they are clearing other sections, and also putting up the irrigation system. Even where there, we have our right of way. So we need further engagements to ensure that we conclude that issue, so that that section is also given to the contractor to work. Yes. I think briefly that's what I can say now. Maybe the other details will come during the meeting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Janet, for that brief. And I think we hand over to you to
Okay.
lead us in the next item.
Thank you. I don't have a lot to say now, for now, because we are going to take the time to see what's there before we sit down in the budget. Of course, I want to appreciate the presence of my honorable colleagues, Honorable Nelson Okello from Marozi North, and Honorable Bete Ngola from Apac District. So we will co-chair. We can co-chair 3 people because we all have interest in what's going on, and also we are responsible to ensure that the interests of the local community and the broader benefits that the project will bring are protected, and they are cool to these people, to the people here. So I think for now we leave it like that. I don't know, Honorable Betty, if you have anything to say, and Nelson.
Maybe, thank you for your brief. I wanted to hear something regarding compensation. Just brief.
Compensation, no?
Affected people along this road.
Compensation for
The
right
status-
away.
Yeah.
The status of compensation.
Because I've had people coming to me,
Catherine,
I'm waiting
can-
for my money.
Okay. So there are people, other people have not received compensation. Let us know more.
Briefly, maybe like she stated, for the first section, the first 30 kilometers, we have paid up to about 85%. There are very few people who are still remaining, and we have managed to engage them. Mostly, we have not verified them because of their own issues. Some have issues like conflicts, others have documents, legal documents that have not yet put. For the second section, we verified at least 50% who are now receiving money. They started getting their payments last week, and we plan to come back beginning of September to finish the next, the remaining 50%. Yes, but I will also give the details at the meeting. There is a report that I prepared strictly for land acquisition. Yes.
What I gathered from your report, your status report, is the first section starts from Rwenkunye up to Achengiet in Nigeria, just before Sapau. Then the second section starts from there up to Amola in Alenga Primary School. I don't know if it goes down, but it's up to Amola in Alenga. And the third section from Alenga up to Amelo, Chongolo. Actually before your place, because you're near Apac, right? from Lango to Amilo. Then the last section from Amilo to Apac Municipal Township. Yeah, so they have done this side, from here up to Achingate. They are now verifying Achingate to Amola to Lango. Yeah? You haven't started with Puje, which is basically Lango to Amilo. Not yet started. So it's still a long way. Okay.
Can I make one? Thank you, Honorable. I'm happy you are here. You've been making noise alone, but now that you have been doing that at that level.
Who was making noise?
We've been making noise. And I want to thank Madam Engineer Lunga, at least for responding quickly on behalf of the union. This is something that has not been coming out properly. And I pray that at the end of the day, you will also capture it and have it in the August house.
The bridge.
The bridge.
We'll talk about it now.
That is it. The bridge, and then
they are implementers. The decision is by Parliament and the government
and
the executive.
Government is here. So it's a bridge, and the rest I would be happy if those challenges were identified in district
The
stakeholders
bridge is the
meeting
next big lobby
can be
that we have to make.
done. Yes.
Maybe we could ask, since we are here, UNRWA, what are your plans for the ferry in the meantime? This ferry is small, it stops very early. These days they are stopping at 4:30. Yeah, you know that?
Yes.
They are stopping at 4:30.
Because of the curfew.
No, if I want to go to Masindi or Kigumba.
I wrote actually to complaining.
Yes.
I'm waiting for
Maybe Jimmy,
The station,
you may be
the
having,
regional manager is
you may be
around.
having some ideas there with.
We have a whole department of ferry, and if there is that complaint, I think for now we may not be able to answer. You can take it, then they can give you a response. Because there's a whole
Was
department.
this your decision or it was coming from another office?
And laid on site. And then below that we've got the base, which is crushed stone. And then below that is where we have the subbase. And that subbase is the one we are making option.
Because base it will be the when asphalt and everything is ready, we'll do base. And you know, for this section for base and asphalt, we need long section. So we can do, because we don't want jumping the section. It will be joint is not okay like this. We need to be all over this.
This is our section. They are telling us that the sections are already there.
Say it again?
The sections.
Right.
They are there. The drawings, everything is complete.
The design.
The design.
Now we've got to, perhaps the best person to respond to that is that.
Yes, it's the same issue with the design with lot 2, as I think you were there in the lot 2. So it's still the review for the design is still ongoing with from the consultant and UNRWA. So to avoid delaying the contractor and the project, we provided the contractor with sections that there is no changes in that design, so he can start work on this to avoid any delay.
So here, this part has no change.
Yes.
This is the original design.
The original design.
Yes.
Without any change.
The review will not affect it.
Yes.
Yeah, because why I ask, because I'm seeing a similar problem everywhere. Because these are two different contracts.
Yes.
Lot 1 has a different contractor, Lot 2 also has a different contractor. But I'm seeing a similar challenge being faced by both contractors. That's why I asked that now we don't want to again hear the issue of the design review and the rest. So if this is a section which has everything, I think we shall keep monitoring. Shall keep monitoring as work progresses.
I want to find out when you started this work, the bush clearing, and then setting the bed, the what.
We started a long time ago on another section.
No, let him finish his question.
Okay.
When did you start the bush clearing and what?
Last month.
2 months.
Yeah. And for some time you have been passing here.
Yeah.
And apparently there was no work.
No,
Because it was in this section.
Yes.
The first work. And we want to know why, because I'm seeing like
Yeah, because we submit the section to consultant to review if they have any complaints about the section. We still rectify this first section. It will always take time to check all the drawings and slopes and everything, and the removing the top side because this section is not like other sections. We have embankment at high level, so we need to agree after we take sample, and the take sample stay in lab not less 5-6 days to check it. It is only for this section, so we start to for this difficult section to be cover all problem we can face in that place.
Excuse me, pardon, Honorable Tony, because for us as leaders and people, what you want to view is the truth. Because as he said, as he says, I also pass here almost every week.
Yeah.
Some time back, I had the equipment all over. Your trucks are moving up and down, but later on, quiet.
Right.
So there must have been something.
Thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament. One of the things is, besides the technical aspect, is the question that you asked when you were there, actually. And if you had what I said,
I would also want to know from the sub-county, where's the chairperson, the representative of FFA. I over the radio yesterday that there was a court case in Lira over the quarry, but the quarry, the stone here, over the rock.
On the rock, eh? Yes. After finish, we are going to start our drilling works, quarry activities. Blasting, drilling works, whatever. After finish the stipple work, we can start our activities in quarry.
What is the situation for blasting license is finished?
License, We are getting almost finished. This week we are going to. At police, we put the containers, we put the fence, we put the sandbags, security for sites, and we put air thrusters, sheds. Everything is there. We have already approved the. We have already applied the blasting animal license from Apache police station. So we are waiting for that. So maybe next week we are going to. I could not take breakfast.
Oh, this one there.
You take them also.
Oh. Ah, two. I am very hungry.
Because that seems to be the main problem here. And to me, I am now questioning, I don't know who else would question, but I think the consultant. You have taken a very big contract, 191 kilometers, and you have been given to do consultancy on all of them. I don't know if your capacity you can demonstrate. Because this is why somebody would say we needed to have given Sadim another consultant and the other one another consultant. Maybe their speed of actions and responding to things would have been different. But now you have one person who will speak the same word from Masende Port up to Purana. His word would only be one statement. So I want to know from the consultant, if you have communicated to the contractor that with what is going on now, the following sections, you can proceed with your work. From our study, even when we are going to do alteration, may not be so much, so that you, the contractor, is able to continue with the work continuously in most sections. Because once we are done with that, then we can go and sleep knowing the team on the ground are constantly consulting and being proactive in dealing with the problems that are there. And Mr. Chairman, finally, I think Yondra, from what has been going on, you now need to realize that the socks, you need to pull up your socks very seriously. Your socks has been low, you are happy, enjoying a big contract, things are okay, but we have ended into now where the big contract wants to turn out to be a shame onto our operation. So I think all of you must pull the socks, put your head together, constantly work with the contractor, with the consultant, and ensure that every day there is a business and it's not going to be business as usual. So, Mr. Chairman, these are the things that I thought for now I would present. But also I want to question the Al-Sadil, when you said you gave matrix to help in the query, but you said if you realize there's a problem, then you people are going to come in. But also at the same time, they are using your equipment. So how do you subcontract to somebody? Then again, you give them your equipment, and you're also even putting a concern that once we see they are not coming up, we shall come in. Now, what is the purpose of that subcontract?
True, but I'll leave it to the people here who are listening. It is bad, but you need to know. You will have to respond. I've been told that it is a new thing here in our culture at home here, the issue of homosexuality that has come up. As a leader, as a mother, I've been told. So as I was saying, we need the truth from you. So, Honorable Chair, let me just say that in a nutshell. I thank you.
Serious.
Wow.
Nice,
Anyway, they have a sociologist here. that's why there's a whole complement of disciplines. Honorable Betty, Honorable Tony, and Honorable Nelson, for the issues you have raised. I want to ask the Vice Chairman of Apac District local government if you have any issue to raise. You're based here, you interact with these people from time to time. You must have picked up a lot of issues even before. If you want to raise anything, then I'll give the opportunity to the RDC as a representative of central government in the district to also make a few quick observations or raise questions, and then I will wrap up before we ask our owner to respond. It's taking longer than we had thought, so let us get quicker or be a little more brief.
Thank you very much, Chair. All protocol observed in that are engulfed in the areas that concern the contract that is within the district. My name is Udongo Tony Jasper, the Vice Chairperson of Apac District Local Government, here on behalf of the District Chair. Most of the areas that I would have put before you is actually covered by Honorable Tony. You gave almost everything. But I want Honorable maybe to tell me, because in a country, very big contract like this, there are always either monthly or bi-monthly stakeholders meeting. But in this case, this one has never happened. Only it was once when there was issues of when the issues of hillside started, and they were invited, and that was the only time when we had the meeting, where it was attended by the RDC and the chairman and the cow. But I was in a Germany where the same project is going on at the moment. I found out that the RDC is there as part of the meeting, of that monthly meeting, all members of Parliament, the chairman of AC5, the cow, and maybe the district engineer. But here, it has never happened. I want Honorable to tell me that, and possibly maybe Sadim Al-Kuwait. Another one is, let us be open today, because we have failed to tell the community what is happening. Although we see most of the vehicles branded as Sadim Al-Kuwait, tell us the truth, whether it's dot service which is here. Although we see the vehicle branded Sadim Al-Kuwait, even the officers here is Sadim Al-Kuwait, but there are a lot of questions. Tell us the truth today, so that as leaders we are able to tell the community exactly the truth. Because some of you who went to the office before you came was dot services. And the person who came for, I am seeing as if he's the one on the east of the rock. He came with somebody from dot services, but this today they are something very different. Somebody? This one, I remember it's this one who came to the office of the Vice Chairman on the east of the rock with this man, the owner of Eagle Nest, when they were searching for those, with another person from dot services. So this thing is confusing us, and we have a lot of questions to answer from the community, but we cannot even actually get the right answer to give the community.
To put the track section at a very difficult section on the road, which needs a lot of lifting and a lot of fill material. I would propose, because there are other sections where there are simple work. Why did they opt to begin with a very difficult section of the road? Because if you compare the other section, you need a lot of material before you reach the subgrade. So you will have to do a lot of raising. But there are sections where you can make work very easy and even finish your trial section very fast. Then the consultant analyzes and then give you a go ahead so that you can now progress. It will also give the consultant time to maybe give you instruction to begin another 30% of the work, the second section, because as the additional 30 kilometers is almost even the 30% of the work. So that's to me anyway.
Some clarifications. One of the issues is I see since the program for this road construction started, there are some levels which needs radio talk source to give some clarifications to the community, where I expected the community liaison officer to come to our office. There are some air times we have in these local radio stations where some of the matters could have been clarified. Then this is not the first meeting. My senior and the team, district stakeholders have been coming, but the meetings we have been having like this, they have not been yielding fruit so much. I am expecting our honorable members are here. The UNRWA team and Sadim are creating their matters on the ground which have not been tackled. Please, this is the time for us to be open so that the honorable members go and see, maneuver way forward how these issues can be handled. As the office is concerned, we leaders, we always expect to see the good things happen when you are in the office. I will also be very happy when this road has been put right when I was the deputy RDC. I will also be the most proud person. So the same, the honorable members that you are seeing here, that's why we are trying to ask what is happening. The locals, what they are after is seeing these machines which are parked here on the road busy. We are not after those technicalities, those other issues that you put those paperwork, documentary aspects. These locals don't look at them. They are after real work. They want to see these cars that are parked here moving up and down. That's when they will see that real work is moving on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zabo. Let me just now just touch on a few things and wind up and invite UNRWA and the contractor to explain the issues that have been raised. First of all, I want to say that this project has been a long time coming to Lango. It's going to be the second paved passageway in Lango. Let's say since independence, we only have the main road from Dokolo to Lira up to Kamdini. This is called the Great North Road. This project goes through about 4 districts in Lango. Apac, where we are, Rwenkunye, where Tony comes from, Kole, which I think you inspected the other day, then Lira, going to Kitgo. So it was very pleasing when the president decided to add this road to the 23 roads that had been identified under the, I think, NRM manifesto to be done in the next, I think, 10 years. Because you have a lot of arrears. There are works that you have done that UNRWA has done and they have not yet paid. But these roads were identified. Under political pressure, the president acceded to adding this road to the list. When the project was launched before the elections, I think in 2020, sometime last year, people thought it was a political gimmick to gain votes. So the president had to come here. What we heard was that, in fact, I got this information from somebody higher in the corridors of power, that the president was very relieved when he launched the road. He was very relieved because he thought he was going to have a difficult time in the last election. So he himself was personally pleased that he went through that ceremony. I don't know if he knew that there would be delays because it was just the purpose of election. So the people of Lango were skeptical because they have been waiting for this road for a long. I'm basically addressing myself to UNRWA as a government agency, and maybe my colleagues at the RDC, that the people were very skeptical that this was just a political ploy to go through the campaigns. Al-Sadim came here in December, Al-Kuwait came here in December, mobilized, and people thought things would be okay. Elections were in January. After that, basically things slowed down. We had challenges. I must appreciate that through the intervention of Al-Kuwait, we see, some smooth ride from Apache, let's say from Lira all the way to the ferry. The roads were very bad, with most sections cut off. This particular section, further ahead, was cut off. You had to do a detour. I think Al-Kuwait fixed it. I talked to the people here and they fixed it. So I kept asking, why are you delaying? What is the problem? You did not come to maintain. You did not come here to maintain the road. You came here to actually transform it from maram to bitumen. So what's going on? I see you have all the equipment and you have the campsites and you have employed people, but there's nothing substantially going on. I thought government might not have paid the advance payment. They said so at the time, but I believe the advance payment was actually paid, about 95 billion, 49 billion. Now, this project is the biggest public investment in Lango sub-region under one activity, pouring almost $91 million here. We appreciate the funding from the Islamic Development Bank. But I wonder, was it tied aid? That nearly all services are nearly related to the source of the money. Was it tied aid? This was a commercial loan. So were there, maybe you can't answer, but this is what I wonder, that nearly all the service providers are external. Now, coming to the ground here, we don't mind who comes to do the work if they are the best evaluated person, bidder, who have the capacity, have the equipment, have the capital, and that they are properly facilitated and supervised by UNRWA. We should actually accept, we should welcome and try to help them. Now, from the issues being raised, you would think that we are not in support of the project. You'd think we are frustrating because tough questions are being asked. I want to ask Sadim Al-Kuwait that we are not here to frustrate you. We are not here to cause any change in the contract in terms of, because we don't have the capacity or the information to say, no, we don't want Sadim Al-Kuwait, or maybe the contract is overpriced or whatever. No, we're here to see the project delivered. So an important component is that there must be local engagement with the district leadership, with the political leadership, and with the local people to be engaged. Do not become an island where you are, because then people will always, have issues or concerns to raise, and you might find that you're actually working as aliens now in a place that you should really be interacting with local people. I had a meeting with UNRWA sometime last year, I think. They came to my home. I saw in their report they're saying that they have had informal meetings. This is probably the first major meeting, public meeting with the local leaders that we are having. We should have some commitment from UNRWA and from Sadim Al-Kuwait today as to the frequency of this meeting, so that we bridge the information gap between UNRWA and us, between Al-Sadim and us, so that if there are issues, we should be your first lieutenants to help you resolve them, both locally and as members of parliament. So let us have that commitment. At the point of execution where we are, we want to see that there is inclusion of the local people in the activities of the project. One, in terms of service provision, even at a low level in terms of offering local services here like cooking, in terms of employment, you know, where we can provide the manpower. Our boys and girls can provide the manpower. Nothing technical. If they don't have the technical capacity, certainly they can do other things. In terms of other service providers, for example, fuel, you know, where is the fuel coming from? Coming to local content, the materials that are being used should be sourced from here. I'm glad you sourced the quarry from here. But who is benefiting? We don't know the procedure that was undertaken to procure. But when we hear stories, I asked the question because I had heard this story that they bought this thing or hired it for 150 million. I said, wow. So how much is in the BOQ in terms of gravel? And the gravel is being sourced from here. And they are paying 150 million. How much is in the BOQ? That's why I mentioned to you, Ms. Olonya, that let the services being procured locally be fairly priced. Otherwise, there will be conflict. There will be eyebrows raised, and people start asking questions and maybe even interfering by stopping, your progress. That no, we are being robbed. So how was the rock valued at 150 million? Who received it? What is in the BOQ? Can it be reviewed? Because you have to be fair to them. Otherwise, we would basically be taking away our wealth, which is the rock, for no cost, for no value. So we want to see that there is fairness. A lot of people have approached me to indicate, a lot of our local people, that they applied for jobs here. And I have been here before to inquire into the process. They say that they have not been given answers or responses, whether they have been recruited or not. But they see that most of the people who are working here, the local people, Ugandans definitely, are not people from here. So they are going to become spectators or bystanders. And yet this thing will not come back in their lifetime. That government will put such a huge public investment in this area in their lifetime again. So really, let us be inclusive. Let us let the people own that this is in their favor, both immediately as a project is being executed, but long term in terms of benefiting the local economy, that there will be smooth passageway. The hillside was offered a lease of the Maruze Ranch for initial period of 5 years. After 5 years, it will be reviewed. There are a number of commitments or covenants that they must comply with in the 5 years to develop the plantation and do other things, but also in terms of local engagement. That should be satisfactory before their lease is renewed or extended, their MOU is extended. So it would be risky for them to start pursuing interests that are in conflict or do not help us, the local people. Government recognized that hillside was actually sourced by Apac district local government. And they had signed an MOU with the district local government. And government adopted the same terms in the MOU and put it in the MOU with central government, with the Minister of Finance, because that land belongs to the Minister of Finance. So they cannot now cause delays. It is in their interest to ensure that they do not cause any controversy. We have had enough controversy with hillside. So I suggest that the district basically writes to hillside, copy it to UNRWA, and copy it to us, members of parliament, inviting hillside to a meeting, that we come and thrash out the issues. One is that they always knew the road was going to be tarmacked. Okay, I personally talked to them, the road is going to be tarmacked, and they knew that. They should have understood, the right of way, or the length, the length of the road reserve, so that they do not interfere with such passageway. That is number one. Two, to shift the road from where it is to the other side on the left or on the right when you're going down. As I said in the morning, there's actually a bit of a valley there that would need a lot of material to compact. That will eat into the project budget. I don't know if that will lead to a project variation or a project contract variation. And so it would be additional costs on the people of Uganda occasioned by hillside. So I think we should invite them. We should find time and sit down with them here on site, either in Kumu or in Apac or Rwenkunye here, so that we indicate to them in no uncertain terms that we would not be pleased with any delays coming on their side in terms of their claims or expectations. If there are any resources, natural resources to be obtained in terms of maram or gravel from that land, it cannot go to hillside. I think they should understand that, because they are leasing for farming, not for extraction. They cannot change the land use. That land belongs to government. We as local people would appeal to government that whatever proceeds or whatever compensation, if it must be paid to the local community in terms of the local government, like the rock was hired from local government, or to the district, so that people can actually see real benefits going to the local community. Of staff there, environmental issues, environmental discipline, the socio-economic in terms of health and safety, local economy. When we met last year, they indicated that they would be able to undertake a number of these things. And we need commitment, because this was something that we talked about, that we need the commitment which we could put in writing, that these are the things we want that the project can actually do for us. You know, doing some minimal kilometers of offshoots off the road, for example, going to a school, going to a trading center like Kaye, less than 1 kilometer, a very important revenue source. Doing boreholes, those that are going to be replaced, and also additional ones that people need. Coming through town councils, doing a bit of off-roads leading into the main road that you're doing. I don't know whether that would be accommodated by yourselves in your contract. So we want to see that.
Should help us to take the lead in this engagement, so that we resolve the problem without necessarily creating a change in the design in that location, because it will have cost implications, and this will eat up in the project budget, which we wouldn't want to happen.
Now, there's on the boreholes. You mean up to now we are not sure of the boreholes that are going to be affected along the project?
No, we haven't carried out the whole survey for the whole road within the road prism, because we are also mindful that if it is say within our right of way, but it is not affected by the permanent works, and it is within safe distance where the community can collect the water, then we should not destroy it. There are such assessments which are done before we do the replacement, as we destroy the one which we have found there.
And then electricity line, and then pipe water.
Then the relocation of electricity, of water pipes, is a responsibility of the contractor. We have already introduced them to the utility agencies, that is UMEME, UEDCL, and National Water and Sewerage Corporation. So they are the ones who are undertaking that process of negotiating with them, agreeing with them on what should be done.
So they will respond to that.
They will make a response on that. Regarding the stage at which the bridge at Masindi Port is, we want to confirm that the bridge was already designed and costed and submitted to the Ministry of Finance for financing. But we have also engaged the Islamic Development Bank regarding the construction of the bridge. The bank has expressed interest because they realize that working on this road.
And we met the different district leaders and updated them on what is happening on ground. But when, of course, COVID came in, we could not hold these meetings. But also, of course, we pledged that moving forward, we are going to maybe make it more formal and make sure every month at least we have the meetings and invitations sent out to the members of parliament. If one can come,
we can have it once in 3 months.
Quarterly, we had proposed actually a quarterly meeting. The monthly one can happen at the district level. Then the quarterly one we can
have with the members of Parliament. And then also I wanted to throw light on the compensation, the people who give us the consent, like engineers had mentioned. What we do with this, by the time we go to get the consent, like you said, we are concentrating on the first 30 kilometers. Why we decided to go and request for this consent is because we realized there was need for work to continue. Land was becoming a reason why the contractor is not working. It was becoming very frequent that, oh, we don't have where to work, we don't have where to work. So we were forced to come on ground and handle, because there are not very many people, there are actually very few, that we needed to go to one-on-one, because most of them, it's not that we don't want to pay, but they have issues that they are yet to solve before we can pay them. That is why the issue of the consent came, but definitely they will be paid immediately. Some of them already are receiving money, starting last week. Some of them have started receiving money, those who have submitted their documents. Those who had not yet, of course, we are still waiting for them, but as soon as they do that, we shall verify them, and their payments will also be effective. The last thing I wanted to comment on before was, I think, Honorable mentioned something of that with the sub-country, the land belonging to the sub-country, where the money goes. We had mentioned, we had a directive from Ministry of Finance to make payments with all government entities to a consolidated funds account. And some of these properties involve the sub-county properties. So with the sub-counties and some of the lands and properties that they own, once they are assessed, the money is paid to the consolidated fund, and that is where they access the money from. And that is, of course, it includes the government schools, all the government entities, including the districts, some properties within the district. And also, of course, we have faced challenges. Also, in the last meeting we had at the district, they were not very welcoming to this idea, because when they say it's a district property, it's not government property. So we advised them that for us, our hands are tied. We've been directed. This is not the first time you are doing this. No, what have you been doing before? Initially, we used to pay to the directed to the institution. If it was a school, we would pay in the school account. If it's a sub-county, we would pay in the sub-county account. But this is a directive that just came, I think, early last year. And I think government arrived to this directive because of the mismanagement of funds in these government institutions, like the schools. It mostly came from the schools. That's why it happened. So we had to now switch and start paying in the consolidated fund.
Okay.
Thank
we
you.
have to move. Somebody here? This is still on there. Let's say something. Hey, but you know we have to cross the train, and there's curfew at 7. Okay, please go ahead.
I just wanted to comment about the social risk that have been raised by
yes.